This is looking absolutely great, my dear friends. We've finally seen the expected breakout for Bitcoin. We are now almost even at $75,000. These are very, very extreme price levels we've reached. But these are also exactly the prices we expected over the last few weeks. As you know, we're not just expecting $75,000 but $78,000. And whether that's still realistic given the current situation, because we have some news again that we should take a look at. We have some new indicators that might be signaling right now because we've likely reached the price target for Bitcoin and Ethereum in this current breakout move. And the question now, of course, is which direction will the market move next? How can I position myself? I mean, I predicted this exact move several days ago. I've been predicting this movement since mid to late March. We really had a perfect breakout to the upside. So many people are asking me, which way is it going now? Will it keep going up? That's exactly what you'll find out in today's video. And with that, hello and welcome to a new video here on my channel. It's me, Max. I'm giving you an important update today on the current situation in the crypto market. Just a quick heads up, friends. As I said, I was on a long flight yesterday, so I'm back in full swing today. So, market update today and the stream at 2 p.m. as well. The stream is today. Friends, it's extremely important. We only have one trade open now, which is obviously running very profitably. All other trades have been closed in profit. But you also know what that means. It means that some new trades will definitely be added today. Over the last few days and weeks, we've really taken everything we could from the market. We've had some truly fantastic win streaks here. Of course, a small loss creeps in here and there. Yeah, but overall, we've really crushed the market and had a very, very profitable trading week. But that's not what this is about. We need to talk about the Bitcoin movement. But before we start, friends, please go below this video and give it a thumbs up. That would support me a lot, and scroll down a bit to leave a comment for the algorithm. I appreciate your support. The first link in the description takes you to LEVEX, where you can get a deposit bonus up to $5,000 and copy my trades. So friends, what actually happened? Bitcoin didn't necessarily rise because of any specific event. There were some Trump speeches again yesterday and blah, 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 and some lies being spread again. If I were you, I would completely ignore all of that. We've already been positioned long for the last few weeks, meaning we've done extremely well with longs over the last few weeks and days. Even this Bitcoin trade, now only at $11.88, but still $300 in profit, was worth taking. They're all doing great, but based on technical analysis, we saw weeks ago that we had a bear trap and the market would go up, while everyone else was suddenly short. And don't forget, I'm also positioned short, but only from up here. So as I said, in my opinion, it makes the most sense to focus on technical analysis and not on what politicians are saying. Because in the end, they say, yeah, this is the deadline, and now there's going to be a big war. And then, in the end, the deadline arrives, and there's no big war after all, but peace negotiations instead. I mean, obviously, peace is better in the end, but you know what I'm getting at. It's just a bit confusing then, and technical chart analysis is usually always right. Yeah, so briefly on the movement, 15-minute time frame, it's just been rising straight ahead continuously here since yesterday morning, even through the night with, wow, yeah, some really decent pumps. And now, for a short while, we've actually been consolidating. That means recently we've seen a sideways movement in Bitcoin for the first time again. So Bitcoin is naturally moving a bit sideways in the very small time frame right now. Why did we see such a strong pump, especially after seeing such a dump? I can explain that to you very easily because we had a CME gap, of course, since yesterday was Monday. This means the market ultimately fell over the weekend, having closed before the weekend up here at 73.4 or even slightly higher. 73.6, it doesn't really make a difference in the end. Yeah, and then accordingly reopened down here at 71.5, filling the CME gap upwards in one go. That's also something very bullish. We no longer have a CME gap below us that's relevant in the short term. That's only half the truth, of course, because we still have two potential CME gaps down here. But they're important, yeah, though they probably won't be filled immediately because my personal forecast, which has been my forecast for a few weeks now, is that we'll fill the CME gap up here. Let me switch to the 12-hour time frame so you can see it better, which is the second largest CME gap ever made. And fill is the wrong word. I believe we'll test this CME gap and then get rejected there once. That means if we test this CME gap, we'll be at our $78,000 as mentioned, and that would definitely be very realistic. So, as I said, I think we'll test it because CME gaps are very often not filled on the first try or the first run, but are often just tested on the first run. The market corrects and then fills them afterwards. So the $78,000 makes sense again there. And if I assume we'll drop from here, then the perfect rising wedge forms again, which will then likely break out to the downside. But of course, a rising wedge can also break out to the upside. It's very unrealistic in this case, But here too, as I said, price targets of $77,000 to $78,000 are super realistic. Please don't forget, I'll very likely sell a large part of my portfolio here, depending on how the market develops. Opening big shorts is out of the question. Yes, that will happen, but this will be an absolutely crucial area for me because Bitcoin can still rise a bit now by 5 or 6%. I'll still take those gains in my portfolio, of course. I'll take those for my longs as well. Today, if I open trades, I'll bet on the market going down a bit more before the market opens, probably correcting slightly, and then continuing to follow the trend and move further up. That means today, I basically just want to continue expanding my long positions, but I have to say clearly, depending on how the market reacts up there, which we'll likely see by the end of the week, I will definitely realize and sell off parts of my portfolio that are in profit. Because the probability, and this must be stated very clearly, also to take this euphoria out of the market now, because that's what's dangerous and will kill everyone, is that the market is destined to go down from here. Yes, and that's what I've been saying for weeks, that this is the most likely scenario, because what we have here looks more like a Wyckoff distribution to me, meaning a Wyckoff that sells off, which I'll also show you in today's live stream. It just has to be said clearly, friends, that this euphoria is now entering the market. I mean, please take a look at this fear and greed index. We're back at 54, which is normal again now. And 54, okay, that's fine. But when we were at the same level on the fear and greed index right here, and that was at the beginning of February, what was going on then? What was going on there? There was extreme fear. Yes, look at that. On February 4th, we were at the same price target as we were today. And where were we on the fear and greed index on February 4th? It must have been right here. We were at one of the highest fear levels we've ever had on the fear and greed index. So you just have to imagine how complex this is, or how foolishly retail thinks, believing we're in a massive hype now when we were at the same price target before in the greatest fear ever seen. Yes, it's understandable, of course. One moment we were falling, the next we were rising. But this euphoria will naturally cause the market to keep rising. People are suddenly jumping in now, and then, of course, it won't be a bear trap up there, but a bull trap instead. And while we predicted the bear trap down here and didn't short but went long, we entered long here accordingly. The bull trap will very likely come up there, and then the market will break to the downside. Because please don't forget to zoom out a bit and say, wait a minute, we might actually still be in a downtrend. A bear market or a downward phase always lasts a bit longer after all. Then we are definitely destined to fall below the $60,000 mark once again. And at the moment, we reach $78,000, which I've been calling as the top for weeks, the local top for this consolidation phase here. Yes, when we reach that, no one will want to believe the market is going down because everything looks bullish now. The sentiment is great, and of course, when retail sentiment is soaring, you can sell off nicely as a big player. And that's just how the market works. It's very mean, but once you understand it and trade against retail, it naturally becomes very easy and very profitable. That means you'll also see many people on YouTube telling you to get in now, that the massive pump is coming. But in the end, the big sell-off to the downside will come, and we'll likely drop below $60,000 to maybe $50,000 or $48,000, and then form the bottom down there accordingly. And there are many good reasons for this scenario. But that would be too much right now. Just friends, please, yes, the market is pumping. We expected that. We traded in that direction. We had 50 other longs open. So I mean, what we traded, except for gold, yeah, which also closed at break even, these were actually only long positions here. Yeah, once with my Casper short, we took a hit, but Casper anyway, you know my opinion. Yeah, we actually only traded longs here. Yeah, we only traded longs here and made great profits with that. That means this upward movement doesn't surprise us here. Yeah, but of course I want to keep you from falling into this frenzy now because the market will probably consolidate very briefly now and very likely continue upwards today or tomorrow. So that's also part of my prediction. We'll probably be at the resistance here now. Ooh, resistance. And the market will probably just, boom, just really break through. We might see a pullback here, but then probably towards this evening, tonight, see the next breakout upwards. The market will probably rise very, very quickly, very, very strongly again, and then it just continues upwards. And that will lead to the fear and greed index, maybe even going to slight greed here, holding a bit up there, maybe consolidating upwards in the form of a rising wedge, but then probably being sold off in the end. And therefore, because I obviously don't know how long the market will stay up here in this area, what the market looks like up there, I will of course be cautious here first and foremost, and will of course first see how the market develops. Because of course the market can and may also break through to the upside. And then I'm naturally glad if I haven't sold my portfolio. But depending on how the market reacts, and that will then turn out spontaneously. But that's the good thing, that I have this flexibility in the market. I look at the situation as it is. And if it's good, I'll sell accordingly here to then get back in cheaper down here. Because please don't forget, if you sell up here and get back in down here, you save yourself a 30% correction first. That means you have 100K up here. Realize the 100K, they're then in USDT, and you've saved $32,000 in losses for now, and then you just go back in down here with your 100K and make 48% first. You're at 148K at the same level. So it makes a big difference. And in the end, if it works out halfway as planned, you make 50% with it. So with that, of course, everything with risk and so on, and do your own research. Clear enough, right? But that would be my plan here. But I'll let you know in the next few days. But please, friends, don't fall into any greed here now. Ethereum is also rising super well here. It also looks like it'll probably even continue to rise soon. Let's see if we even see a consolidation. So prediction short term continues to go up. Yeah, but it'll just peak upwards nastily. But don't forget, we saw a nasty rise upwards here too. It consolidates a bit and is very, very quickly back down very, very far. And then the whole market sentiment is different again. So friends, please don't let yourselves be fooled here. Don't let yourselves be lured into the trap here, because we're coming straight out of the bear trap and running into the bull trap, because that usually happens before a big move. So far, we haven't seen a big move because we're overall in a consolidation here. So for us, there hasn't been any major movement yet that would have been relevant here. Yeah, and what you're seeing here are just small movements within the larger system. What I mean by a major movement is something like this right here. And before something like that happens, all the retail traders have to be shaken out. Why? Quite simply because they want to prevent retail, which is positioned short, from profiting from this. And so when retail shorts, they're led down the wrong path right here. The retail that's shorting gets lured right into the bear trap. Then retail says, okay, let's stop shorting. Now it's going long. Yeah, and then the market goes long, hits the bull trap, and then retail gets taken apart on the long side too. So retail tried to short and long, failed both times, and then the market just drops on its own. And once the market breaks out here, retail will say, oh, here comes the pullback, and they'll keep trying to buy against it, losing money the whole time. So the market is basically a giant game against retail, and once you understand it, it's easy to play profitably, like I do in my streams. Speaking of streams, today at 2 p.m. in the stream, friends, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up down below. Feel free to leave a comment here for the algorithm. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Trades are going well. New trades are entering the market today. As I said, see you at 2 p.m. in the live stream. We'll go through it in detail there. On that note, my dear friends, I'll see you then, and bye for now.